Your house is worth whatever it's worth, right? Whoever sells it. Wrong. I'm Charlie. Welcome to Moving Home with Charlie, and thank you for coming.
Charlie Landing grew up in Sussex, is the founder of Best Agent and presenter of Moving Home with Charlie.
If you want to find one of these guys, look out for those compassionate professionals. All estate agents are not the same.
So Charlie, what would be your advice for people interested in buying new builds right now?
Don't overpay. Do buy, but don't overpay. That's why I say disregard the guff. Read into the numbers and look, and it's buried. The bad news is buried in the small print, okay?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Property Press Awards.
They may or may not be telling the truth, but you should form your own view. Get out and view, get out and view, get out and view. You cannot be in a position to make offers and have the offers accepted if you're not viewing. Just be out there viewing. Pay attention to the back of the class if you've not been watching my videos. I did one just a couple of days ago. Disregard the guff, guys. Hi guys, it's Good Friday. I'm supposed to be off this week, and I wasn't going to do this week, but I just thought there was so much confusion after Halifax's house price rise announcement yesterday that I wanted to do one anyway quickly. So this is a hastily prepared, but I hope a good and helpful 5-Fact Friday for you. But I wanted to start with this. When Halifax published their house price index yesterday morning, and it said that it was up 1.6% year on year, I just knew there was going to be some very funny reaction to for me. And this is the funniest one. So this is a tweet from someone on Twitter called Boring Trousers. That did make me laugh, actually. Like, just a very confused looking man. Like, what? House prices are going up? So thank you for that. That did actually put a smile on my face, because yeah, I mean, absolutely. Everybody was surprised. I think even the people who are hoping for house prices not to fall were surprised at that. And what I'm going to do is, straight after this video, straight after 5-Facts Friday, I'm going to do another live stream specifically to talk about Halifax house price index selling prices are going up, whilst at the same time Nationwide has said they're going down. 3 months in a row, Nationwide have gone down, down, down. Halifax have gone up, up, up. So straight after this video, I'm going to do another live stream just to talk about that. But fact number one is that the Halifax house price index for March is showing that house prices in March were 1.6% higher than the same month last year. Okay, so that's a monthly change of 0.8%, a quarterly change down, so a quarterly fall, but an annual up. So it's up, down, up, depending on whether you're looking at monthly, quarterly, or annual. And I've linked to all of these below, so do go and have a look, because there's always interesting stuff to be found in there, especially if you dig into the regional stuff and find out more about where you are. So house prices, it's worth just mentioning as well that Halifax and Nationwide both have sample sizes of around about 12% of the market. The differences between them are that Halifax includes to-let mortgages, whereas Nationwide doesn't. Nationwide is only home purchases. So there's an important difference to worth thinking about. Now, the second most interesting fact of the week, I think, is this one, which is that Rightmove has released its how long it takes to sell a house. It's just released fresh data on that. And anyone who wants to know, this article on Property Industry Eye, which I have linked to below, Britain's fastest selling market revealed, right, is all Rightmove data, and it's broken down by regions. And Scotland is the fastest, unsurprisingly, because they work differently up there. But it's got the fastest regions and the slowest regions, and how much they've changed in a year, which is quite something. So overall, for the whole country, the average is now taking 55 days to find a buyer, which is 22 days up on a year ago. So it's actually 60 or 65% longer on average to find a buyer than it was a year ago. And a further 165 days to complete a sale. So it's 220 days, or over 7 months. If you are a seller, on average, it takes over 7 months to complete a sale on average. But have a look at this story, because it does break it down regionally. And for example, the shortest time to find a buyer is in England is the West Midlands. And the longest time to find a buyer is now, I believe, Ferndown in Dorset, 83 days to find a buyer, which is up 61 days from last year. So that's pretty big. So guys, enjoy that information so you can have a look to see what it is for where you're living. Now, Zoopla released their house price index, and they said housing market defies expectations in early 2023. Now, what I want to point out here is this is, again, linked below in the description, so go and check it out for yourself. Very interesting to see how Richard Donnell has actually constructed this article, because when at a glance, it kind of has a positive spin on it. But there's a lot of comparisons with 2019, which is a random 4 years ago, rather than year-on-year comparisons. They do include the year-on-year comparisons, but they are a bit misleading. So, for example, it says demand is 16% higher than this time in 2019. Oh, well, that's not much use, is it? And you go down to actually look at the figures themselves, and you find much more interesting is that demand, there we are, look, in brackets at the end of a sentence about sales, demand is 43% lower than last year, right? So for those of you who are obsessed with supply and demand, because supply and demand is what affects prices, demand is 43% lower, and there are 65% more homes for sale than a year ago. So compared to a year ago, supply is up 65% and demand is down 43%. Those are Zoopla's own figures compared to a year ago. So that's, I think, a pretty important and relevant fact for the week, because I don't know who's moving now, who's comparing things with 4 years ago. I wonder what it's like with 4 years ago. So random, isn't it? I mean, I know it's pre-pandemic and that's the point, but no one remembers what it was like if you're actually moving house back then. You remember what it's like last year if you've been looking to sell for a year or looking to buy for a year. You know what it's like a year ago. So compared to a year ago, 2/3 more homes for sale than a year ago, and almost half less buyers than a year ago. All right, those are big numbers. Those are big numbers. Okay, and again, you can use your own mind up, make your own mind up. So that's item number 3. Number 1, Halifax house prices up 1.6% year on year. Number 2, it's now taking 165 days to sell a house plus 55 days to find a buyer. That's Rightmove's figures. Number 3, Zoopla's figures. Supply is 65% up. Demand is 43% down. Now, point number 4 of 5 this week is the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, has made its forecast and says that the world economy faces the weakest growth in 33 years, all right, since 1990. Why is this relevant? Well, given that UK's economy is 57% international trade, import and export, so well over half of our economy is powered by the global economy. This is relevant to those of you who are wondering, well, I'm making my decision about whether to buy or not based on what my views are on how strong the housing market is going to be in 2, 3, 4 years from now. This stuff is important. Okay, so the global economy is looking to be the weakest in terms of forecast from the IMF for 33 years. Now, I'm not saying that I take what the IMF says as gospel, but it's also, I mean, I don't know whether they've got an agenda there. I mean, that's not a particularly, if they have got I don't know how reliable they are. I don't know how accurate their forecasts are. I haven't got that information. But, you know, if they're saying the global economy has the slowest outlook for 33 years and Britain's economy relies on that for 57% of its GDP, and house prices in the UK rely on wage growth for house prices to go up, I think that's relevant. So that's point number 4. Point number 5 is, okay, it's not an immediate impact on the housing market, but it's on the Bank of England website, and it really made me sort of sit up and take notice. So this is the Bank of England website of their minutes of the SONIA Stakeholder Advisory Group, right? They had this meeting about 2-3 weeks ago, and blah, blah, blah. There's all the stuff they talk about. Retrospective view of market conditions. The SONIA market, but for those of you who don't know, is the money market where mortgage lenders borrow their money to lend. And the SONIA rates, SONIA swap rates, have a closer impact on mortgage interest rates than the Bank of England base rate does. So that's the relevance to housing markets. And there's nothing there that impacts the housing market right now particularly. But look at this. Number 6, future topics for discussion. The group noted an interest in central bank digital currency, CBDC, for future discussions as this product evolves. How is central bank digital currency going to become involved in the mortgage market? Interesting one. So that doesn't have any impact on the housing market right now, but I thought it was worth flagging for those of you who are interested. So guys, that's my 5 facts. Halifax says annual house prices are up 1.6%. Last week, Nationwide said they were down 3.1%. You might want to just like average those two out to get an impartial view. Time to sell has gone up 22 days, and it's still taking 7 months to complete a sale on average. You've got to remember that, guys, both buyers and sellers. You've got to factor that time in and think, what will the world look like? What will my life look like? My job, the economy look like 5 months from now when the deal I've just agreed actually is going to go through? Zoopla says stock is up 65%, demand down 43%. IMF says the weakest outlook for 33 years, and the Sonia swaps market is going to start looking at CBDCs. Have a fantastic Easter weekend. I'm immediately going to stop this live stream and within 5-10 minutes start a new live stream just talking about comparing Halifax house price indices with the rest of them, because I know a lot of you are concerned about that. So have a great Easter. Thank you, guys. Thanks to everyone that watched. Sorry for the short notice. And see you on the next one. Bye-bye.